Hi, welcome to my studio, and a lot of you have asked me to cover water, and this orca scene I photographed a little while ago had some of the most complicated reflective type of water that I've seen, so I thought that'd be a good one to start with. And it's very detailed, so I've got a video or a series of 2 videos on my Patreon channel, and I really go into it in extreme detail, and it's about 2 hours long. So if you want to see lots of those tips and techniques in a more slowed down fashion, that's on my Patreon channel. So on YouTube here, I'm going to just show you a brief overview of how I tackle something so complicated. And you can see I've got my canvas there, I've got my line drawing that I've already put on there with some suggestions then of where the blue of the water is and the white of the water. Now this is an oil painting, but I'm doing these first stages in acrylics, and I'm doing that just because I can block them in really quickly and they dry very fast as well, and that will allow me then to overlay with the oil paints when this acrylic is dry, and I've got a lot more time then to actually do things like blending, although on this particular painting there's not a lot of blending at all, so I could have actually completed it all in acrylics, but my personal preference is to use oils. So I'm just going to carry on now and block in the major shapes, because when you've got something that's this complicated you need to break it down. And if you've followed me on my Facebook and the other channels, you know I always strive to make things as easy and as straightforward for myself as I possibly can, and that helps people that are doing my tutorials as well, obviously. But you've got to take something that's really complicated and make it as simple as possible. So you can see I'm just starting to block in where the blue water markings are going to be. You notice as I'm now just blocking in the blacks of the orca that the blue of the bottom of the water I've just blocked in completely blue, because it's mainly blue, so I didn't see the point of actually leaving out the small white areas, and the reflective orca is quite complicated as well, so I've just blocked that in as blue, just a flat blue for now. And then the simplest way to get all that complicated water back in the right position, especially on that bottom section, is to actually just trace it on there, because it really is so complicated. And then I can remove my graphite paper and just make sure those marks are actually coming out in the right place. And then it's on with the oil paints. Now you can see at the top I've got my reference photo, and in Photoshop I pulled out some colours to show the students over on Patreon exactly the colours that we need, and I go into a bit of depth on how to mix them as well. But that really helps, especially for beginners or in areas even for advanced artists where the colours are a bit tricky to actually see. So that's something you can quickly do in Photoshop. And then to make things even easier for myself, I've got my painting on the top of my painting board that's just under that colour swatch. And then at the bottom I've got the reference photo I took in life size as far as it matches the painting size above, so I can just easily glance up and down and see exactly where I've got to paint certain areas. So you can see here I'm just matching up the colours, and I do that for quite a few of the areas, and it's much easier then to block in, especially on a subject where lots of the colours are the same. So lots of the blue is the same on this, and the slightly off white colours are also the same, so I can make them up in quite large batches. And then it's really a case of blocking those colours in, usually in horizontal strokes, and just checking the position where those colours need to be. And then I continue with multiple layers, and each layer, as you will see, will get much more refined, and the colours much more accurate, and also the positioning of the marks too. And when all the underpainting is pretty much done, doing things like water splashes and small bubbles is really easy. It's just the icing on the cake, and just some suggestions here and there can make it look much more believable. if you're thinking of starting out in oils, perhaps you're a little bit nervous of the supplies required, this is a good one possibly to start with. You can take your time and surprise yourself with what you achieve, and there's only a couple of colours required. I use alkyd oil paint, so they dry by the next day, and the method I use and the very small amount of supplies like odourless thinners makes it virtually odour and smell free as well, so you don't have to worry about that either. As I mentioned, all this is covered in really great detail on my Patreon art channel. I got lots and lots of members, hundreds and hundreds of members on there now, and it's really reasonable price as well, and you'll get to see all this over the period of around about 2 hours long. Hope you enjoyed that short video, and I'll see you all again real soon. On my tutorial website, that's jasonmorgan.co.uk, I've got lots of full-length videos, some up to 8 or 9 hours long. I've got ebooks on there as well. If you're looking for reference photos, because sometimes it's really hard to get very good, decent, copyright-free reference photos you can paint and draw from. My website, www.wildlifeart-online.com, has got about 900 or more photographs on there. Or perhaps you'd like to join my art community, where every month I put up new videos, new reference photos, new wildlife line art. So that's patreon.com/wildlifeart. Love to see you on one of those soon, or even here on my YouTube channel.